القرآن يهدي للتي هي أقوم ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا كبيرا.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Sura Al-An'am, verse 69. وَمَا عَلَى الَّذِينَ يَتَّقُونَ مِنْ حِسَابِهِمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. In the previous verse, there was a mention of those who have meetings to talk negatively against verses of the Quran, signs of Allah. And the Prophet was prohibited, Muslims and the Islamic community was prohibited to join them in their meetings. Now this ayah says, the believers who follow that command and stop joining them, they مع الذين يتقون من حسابهم, they are not accountable for their sins. So those disbelievers who commit this sin, they shall bear the burden of their own sins. Muttaqin, the pious people who do not join them, they are not accountable for their acts. ولكن ذكرى, but this is a reminder, لعلهم يتقون, so that they keep pious. So this is a reminder for believers to distance themselves from those non-believers. Taqwa is mentioned this ayah twice. In the beginning, الذين يتقون, at the end, لعلهم يتقون. Allah says, probably you can say the first taqwa refers to general category of muttaqin, the pious people, but the second one refers to the specific act of refraining from joining these sinful gatherings. This is one idea. The other idea is that yattaqun in the first occurrence means the basic level of taqwa and piety. The second one is the perfect level. So they shall proceed toward perfection in their taqwa. There are also other possibilities mentioned in Tafsir al-Mizan. وَذَرِ الَّذِينَ اتَّخَذُوا دِينَهُمْ لَعِبًا وَلَهْمًا. Leave those who take their religion for play and diversion. What is their religion? It is talking about non-believers. Is it idol worshipping? Allah says no. Dinahum means ad-din al-fitri, because every person, without any exception, by fitra, by his innate nature, he knows God and he has this religion of seeking God and going toward God. So that is he knows God by his fitra. But they took that religion, that fitri religion, that innate religion, for play, for diversion. وَغَرَتْهُمُ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا. They were deceived by the worldly life. وَذَكِّرْ بِهِ. Remind with it. With what? With the Quran. Here refers to Quran. With Quran, remind people. أَن تُبْصَلَ نَفْسٌ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ. So that no one should perish because of what he or she acquires. Tubsala comes from al-basl, means al-halak, al-shaqa, to be deprived, deprivation. This is the meaning of this word, this root. If you don't remind them, if you don't guide them, they may perish, they may be destroyed because of their wrong acts, because of their misdeeds. So you are bringing guidance to them, you are guiding them to the right path so that they will not perish. And tubsala nafsun, so that it may not happen. You see, you do this reminding so that they shall not perish because of their own bima kasabat, because of they acquired, because of the sins that they may commit. لَيْسَ لَهَا مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ وَلِيٌّ وَلَا شَفِيعٌ. So if they end in that misery of committing sins, then when they are confronted with God, they don't have any guardian, any interceder. وَإِن تَعْدِلْ كُلَّ عَدْلٍ لَا يُؤْخَذْ مِنْهَا. Whatever they offer as a ransom, it will not be accepted from them. أولئك الذين أبسلوا بما كسبوا. They are the people who are deprived, who shall be destroyed, who shall perish because of what they earned, بما كسبوا, what they committed, what they did themselves. لهم شراب من حميم. Their drinking is boiling water. وعذاب أليم. They have a painful punishment because of their disbelief. بما كانوا يكفرون. قل أندعو من دون الله. Say, shall we call anyone other than Allah, or shall we call other than Allah those who لا ينفعنا ولا يضرنا? They have neither benefit nor harm. Why benefit and harm is stressed here? Because as explained before, many of nations who worshipped other gods, multiple gods, they were after benefits or rescuing themselves from some harms. They thought of some dangers, some natural disasters, and they thought that if they worship to the god of, for example, skies, the god of river, the god of the sea, then it shall protect them against those harms. Or they needed food, so they thought that they should worship and satisfy the god of forests and this and that, so that it may give them sustenance. So they were looking for nafa and rescuing themselves from darar, from benefit and harm. Quran says the source, the one who can give you all sustenance, who can give you all benefits, and the one who can rescue from all harms is God. ما لا ينفعنا ولا يضرنا. Whatever other than God is something that has no benefit nor harm. ونرد على أعقابنا. Shall we turn back on our heels? بعد إذ هدانا الله. After being guided by Allah. Some say that this statement shows that the person, before being guided by God, is in a state of misguidance, in a state of zulmat. So does it apply to a person like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? For common people, it's okay. They were in ignorance, in darkness. But what about infallible people like the prophets? Allama Tabatabai says, this ayah says that without Allah, all people are in dhalala, all people are in misguidance, all people will perish, even the Prophet, because with God's help, even the Prophet is guided. كالذي استهوته الشياطين في الأرض. Now, a parable is mentioned here. The situation of the man, human being in this earth, who is called by prophets and by messengers to the divine path on one hand, and also is tempted by shaitan on another hand, is like someone who is walking, like a person who is walking and is traveling. Now, استهوته الشياطين. Istahwa means talabul huwi. Huwi means suqut, falling down, decline. Shayateen, the shaitans, they want him to fall down, to lose. So they are seeking his loss. Hayran, he is confused. له أصحاب يدعونه إلى الهدى. He has some friends who call him to guidance. So there are some people who try to guide him. ائتنا, they tell him, come to us. قل إن هدى الله هو الهدى. Say that Allah's guidance is the guidance. وأمرنا لنسلم لرب العالمين. We were commanded to submit to the Lord of Alameen. وأن أقيموا الصلاة واتقوه. And to say prayer, to establish the prayer, and to be pious. Piety is very broad. An instance of that is to perform prayer. Why is it mentioned separately? Because of its importance. Because of its importance, it is highlighted. وَهُوَ الَّذِي إِلَيْهِ تُحْشَرُونَ. He is the one to whom you all shall be gathered. Hashr will take place toward God. وَهُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ بِالْحَقِّ. This ayah explains why إِنَّ هُدَى اللَّهِ هُوَ الْهُدَى. In the previous verses, we said that Allah's guidance is the true guidance. Now it explains why. هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ. He is the one who created the heavens, the earth, بِالْحَقِّ, with truth. He didn't create you for playing. It is for a wise reason. You shall return to Him. وَيَوْمَ يَقُولُ كُنْ فَيَكُونُ, and the day that he says كُنْ فَيَكُونُ, be and it is. We had this phrase before, we explained about it in the previous surahs. فَيَكُونُ قَوْلُهُ الْحَقِّ, so his word shall be al-haq, the truth. His word is his act, because his word is to say kun, be, and it is. So it is his creation. And this act, it is not only in the day of judgment. Always God is creating. So kun fayakun is always there. But this ayah refers to one special instance of that, and that is the day of judgment. Allah says the context of the ayah shows that it refers to the day of judgment. وَلَهُ الْمُلْكُ يَوْمَ يُنْفَخُ فِي الصُّورِ, especially this phrase explains very clearly. Lahul mulk, the kingdom, dominion is his, belong to him in the day that it is blown into the trumpet. We know that God is the king al-Malik. He is the dominant all the time, not only in the day of judgment, but in that day it is more manifest. Because all other things that look to us that they can do something, on that day, in the day of judgment, everyone realizes that they have no benefit. They cannot do anything without God. عَالِمُ الْغَيْبِ يَوْمَ يُنْفَخُ فِي الصُّورِ, as we said, the day it is blown in the trumpet. We have two blows in the trumpet, two nafkh of sur. One after which all living beings die, and the other one after which they get life again. This refers to the second one, because it should match the previous verse. وَهُوَ الَّذِي إِلَيْهِ تُحْشَرُونَ. Hash takes place after the second blow. عَالِمُ الْغَيْبِ وَالشَّهَادَةِ وَهُوَ الْحَكِيمُ الْخَبِيرُ, the knower of the unseen world and the visible world, the wise, al-Khabir, the one who knows everything. Now we start the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ لَأَبِيهِ آزَرَ. When Ibrahim told Azar, أَتَتَّخِذُ أَصْنَامًا آلِهَةً, do you take idols as lords? I see you and your people in misguidance, in manifest misguidance. فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. Allah Ta'ala says the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam and his discussion with Azar, and also with some people who worshipped stars, planets, or moon or the sun, is very clear in the Quran. But the way it is reported in some books, and it is mixed with Israeliyat, with narrations from unauthentic works, have really changed the reality of this story, and has distorted this story, has attached many untrue events to the story. So we have to focus on the original, pure account of the story mentioned in the Quran. Relying on the contextual evidence, Allah Ta'ala concludes that this conversation must have taken place between a person who has been isolated from the society for a while. I mean, he has grown up in an environment with no access to social life, with no access even to some physical phenomena that we observe. It is as if the person is confronted for the first time with some simple issues. As if the person has lived in a cave. And we have some stories about the early years of Ibrahim's life. So when he comes into the city and when he sees people worshipping idols, he has no idea what they are. And this is one point. For example, when he asks people, مَا هَذِهِ التَّمَاثِيلُ الَّتِي أَنْتُمْ لَهَا عَاكِفُونَ, it's a real question. What is it? I mean, what are these things that you are worshipping? What are they? قَالُوا نَعْبُدُ أَصْنَامًا فَنَظَلُّ لَهَا. Okay, they explained that we worship these idols. They used the pronouns which are used for unintelligent beings. I mean, the people who worship idols, because they knew that idols, they cannot do anything, but they were worshipping them. But Ibrahim, because they explained to Ibrahim that they are lords, when he discusses with them and when he talks to them about those idols, he uses the plural form of the pronoun, which is used only for the intelligent beings, in Arabic. Or for example, when he sees the sun, he doesn't say هذه. هذه should be used in Arabic for sun, because sun in Arabic is considered as feminine. But Ibrahim says هذا, use the general form which is masculine. He has no idea of reality of that object. So first of all, Ibrahim had a pure mind, and he had no idea about many things that were taking place in the society. And he just did what his fitra and what his innate nature directed him towards. This is one point. And the second point is that his mind and his soul was much more ready for attending to the real causes of phenomena. He was very much ready to detach himself from the material objects and to focus on the immaterial supreme causes of the events. People were, when they are very much busy with their life issues, they may not think much about these immaterial realities. But Ibrahim, his soul was more ready for that. Allama says, even when you compare the civilized and uncivilized societies, or we can say not civilized and uncivilized, we can say those societies which are more engaged with economic issues and financial matters, we see that their minds is very much busy with those material matters that leave no room for contemplation and thinking about the reality of beings. While those living in the villages, those living in lower levels of economic situation, they may have more free mind and calm soul for focusing and contemplating on such matters. And then when Allama talks about the matter of lordship, he emphasizes that Ibrahim, he did not talk about the creator of the universe with those people. He did not discuss with them if the sun and the moon are the creators. It was very clear for him that Allah and that reality, that supreme reality, which is not material, he is the creator of the universe. Ibrahim had no doubt about it. This question, or at least we say that it seemed to be a question, because later it is explained that even about this one also he had no question. But he at least talked with people as someone who has a question about this matter. But what was the subject of the question? It was not the creation. Who is the creator? That was not a matter of debate between Ibrahim and those people. That was the matter of lordship. Allah Ta'ala says, even those who were addressed by Ibrahim, they also acknowledged that Allah is the creator. They did not attribute creation of the universe to the, for example, planets or to the moon or the sun or the idols. They all believed that God, Allah, is the one who created the whole universe. But they believe that administration of the universe, to run the affairs of the universe, it is left to some other gods. And Ibrahim started this dialogue with them over the lordship. So he started first with the issue of idols and lordship of idols. And then he shifted to those lords who were regarded higher than the idols, or we can say those who were represented by the idols. Some believed in planets as lords, some in moon, some in the sun. So Ibrahim alayhi salam had conversation with each of these groups. Before we start talking about verses one by one, we must also clarify whether Azar is the name of Ibrahim's father or another relative of Ibrahim. Ayah says, وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ لَأَبِيهِ. Ab normally is translated to father. But the history says that Ibrahim's father was Tarah or Tarah, different pronunciation of a term which is very different from Azar. So some suggest that Azar was a nickname for that person, was an epithet for that person. His name was Tarah and his other name was Azar. But Allama says, verses of the Quran show that Azar must not be his father. He can be his uncle, but not his father. Because some verses of the Quran contain a promise from Ibrahim that he promised Azar, he promised that I shall ask for your forgiveness. I shall ask God for forgiveness. And he fulfilled it. But then he realized that it was not right. So all these matters are mentioned in the Quran. فَلَمَّا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ أَنَّهُ عَدُوٌ لِلَّهِ تَبَرَّأَ مِنْهُ. So first he did istighfar, asking for forgiveness, but when it was manifest for him, it became clear for him that he is an enemy of God. تَبَرَّأَ مِنْهُ. He disassociated himself from Azar. And this dua of Ibrahim took place before his migration to Palestine. Because when he said اغفر لأبي أنه كان من الضالين in Surah Shu'ara, we have also this verse رب هب لي حكما وألحقني بالصالحين. So he has several du'as, including these two, asking for forgiveness of Azar and also رب هب لي حكما وألحقني بالصالحين. The same dua, the second one, we find it in other verses. فأرادوا به كيدا فجعلناهم الأسفلين وقال إني ذاهب إلى ربي سيهدين رب هب لي من الصالحين. So the same dua, the second one. The second one is mentioned when Ibrahim was attacked by, when his life was endangered by what was done to him in Babylon. So it was before his migration to Palestine. It shows that at that moment when he was rescued by God in that miraculous way, he made this dua. So this is one issue. But on the other side, on the other hand, we see in the Quran that when he became old, Ibrahim alayhi salam, he made dua for his parents. Alhamdulillah alladhi wahaba li ala al-kibar Ismaila wa Ishaq. After God has given him Ishaq and Ismail both. So he was old at that time. And ayah says, ala al-kibar, in my old age, God gave me these sons. So after that, he says, Rabbana ghfir li wa liwalidayya. Oh God, forgive me and my parents. So Azar is not meant here, because before this issue, we have فَلَمَّا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ أَنَّهُ عَدُوٌ لِلَّهِ تَبَرَّأَ مِنْهُ. So it doesn't make sense that after dissociating from Azar, another time he makes dua for him and on his behalf. And here we see the word walid is used. And walid is only used for the father. But ab can be used for father as well as uncle. So we have other usages of the word ab in Arabic, but not for walid. For example, in ayah 133 of Surah Al-Baqarah, آبائك إبراهيم وإسماعيل وإسحاق. Ismail is not a father or grandfather of Yaqub, but he is named as one of Aba, plural of ab, one of Aba of Yaqub. He's just an uncle to Yaqub. But the word ab is used for him. So all these verses together show that Azar cannot be a father of Ibrahim. He can be an uncle, for example, of Ibrahim. أَتَتَّخِذُ أَصْنَامًا آلِهَةً إِنِّي أَرَاكَ وَقَوْمَكَ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. It is explained that Ibrahim says it doesn't make sense for these idols, these lifeless objects, to be Lord, to share God in his lordship of the universe. Then it continues, وَكَذَلِكَ نُرِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ مَلَكُوتَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. This way we show Ibrahim Malakut as-samawat wal-ard, Malakut of the heavens and the earth. What is Malakut? Malakut comes from the word mulk and milk, to be owner, malik of something. When we use Malakut, we emphasize the concept of milk. So milk means ownership. Malakut is an emphatic form of the same meaning. And this is common in Arabic. Sometimes you add waw and ta to a noun to make it more emphatic, to a verbal noun to make it more emphatic. Like Tughyan means rebellion. Taghut is the excessive form of rebellion. Or Jabarut and Jabr, Malakut and Milk or Mulk. So this shows that God is the owner of everything. فَسُبْحَانَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ مَلَكُوتُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. So all things, they belong to God. They are created by Him. So they are administrated by Him. Their life and death is by Him. So there is nothing left for any other lords. Doesn't make sense to say that these idols, they also share God in His lordship. وَلِيَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُوقِنِينَ. Wa here shows that liyakun is connected to something which is omitted, because wav is for atf, it is a conjunction, and it is a common expression in the Quran. It shows that what we did had many purposes, including this purpose, that so that Ibrahim reaches the level of certainty. It doesn't mean to be certain about God, just to be certain about lordship of God, because it was a very simple level of certainty that Ibrahim had already acquired. It means to reach certainty about the signs of God. فَلَمَّا جَنَّ عَلَيْهِ اللَّيْلُ. When the night covered him, it was night, dark. رَأَى كَوْكَبًا. He saw a kawkab. Kawkab here, does it refer to stars or to the planets? Allama says it refers to planets, because those people who worshipped these celestial bodies, like Sabi'un, for example, they believed in the lordship and divinity of planets, not the stars, like Sabi'in. And which planet? It must be Venus, because it must be a planet which, at least in some nights, when it sets, the moon, when it sets, the moon rises. And when we study the motion of the celestial bodies, we find that it matches Venus more than other planets. And especially because Venus is lighter in our eyes. When we look from the earth to the sky, we see it very much shining. فَلَمَّا جَنَّ عَلَيْهِ اللَّيْلُ رَأَى كَوْكَبًا قَالَ هَذَا رَبِّي. He said, this is my Lord. Some of us, they say Ibrahim was a teenager. He has not reached the age of puberty. So it is okay if he considered, and it was just assuming as if it is his Lord. He was just investigating and researching. And in the process of research, it's okay to have an assumption and then to study more to see if it is true or not. Allah Ta'ala says, but we have other conversations from Ibrahim before this conversation. Surah Maryam, the conversation between Ibrahim and Azar. You see, even in this Surah Al-An'am, 2 verses before, we had a very brief conversation between Azar and Ibrahim. Asnam and Aliha. You see, it talks about idols. But here in this Surah, Surah Al-An'am, it is not given the details. I mean, the Surah does not give the details. But in Surah Maryam, when we study Surah Maryam, you find a detailed conversation between Ibrahim and Azar over idols. So it is before his conversation with those who worshipped the planets. And when you study that conversation, you find very clearly that Ibrahim believed in absolute creatorship and lordship of God. And he left no room, no possibility for lordship of any other God. So it shows that here, when he says, Hada Rabbi, he just joined the worshippers of the planet as an assumption, not that he believed in it or he really considered it a possibility. No, he just expressed in this form. قال هذا ربي فلما أفل. When it said, قال لا أحب الآفلين. I don't like those who said. فلما رأى القمر بازغا. When he saw the moon, بازغ means طالع, بازغ means طلع, rise. When he saw the moon rising, قال هذا ربي. Now he pointed to the moon, said, this is the Lord. فَلَمَّا أَفَلَا قَالَ لَئِن لَمْ يَهْدِنِي رَبِّي. When it said, if my Lord does not guide me, لَأَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْقَوْمِ الضَّالِينَ, I shall surely be among the misguided. And this moon, which sets, it's not able to be a guide. فَلَمَّا رَأَى الشَّمْسَ بَازِغَةً, when it saw the sun, بازغة, now again rising, قال هذا ربي هذا أكبر, this is bigger, this is the Lord, this is my Lord. فلما أفلت قال يا قوم إني بريء مما تشركون. I disassociate myself from all those who you ascribe to God as partners. We explained before why هذا in the masculine form is used here, while Shams in Arabic is considered feminine. The next verse says, إِنِّي وَجَّهْتُ وَجْهِيَ لِلَّذِي فَطَرَ السَّمَاوَاتِ. I turn my face toward the one who created, فَطْر, خَالق, who created the earth and the skies, the heavens. Those people who believed in lordship of planets or moon, they also believe that Allah is the creator. So now he says that the one that you also know that he's a creator, I turn my face toward him. وَمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. See, not like you. You also believe in him, but you turn your face toward some other lords. But I don't do that. Hanifan. Hanif means not to incline eastward nor westward. No, just in the right direction. Or another explanation of the word Hanif is to turn away from misguidance, from deviation. وَحَاجَّهُ قَوْمُهُ. His people, they argued with him. قَالَ تُحَاجُّونِّي فِي اللَّهِ. He said, do you argue with me about Allah? وَقَدْ هَدَانِ, while he has guided me. One interpretation of قَدْ هَدَانِ is that you are arguing with me about how to reach the destination. I have already reached it. قَدْ هَدَانِ, I'm already there in the destination. I have reached my aim where I was looking for. Or Allama says, probably this second possibility can be better, that قَدْ هَدَانِ shows that he is my Lord because he is guiding me. I mean, his act of guiding is a sign of his lordship. A God can be a God when it gives guidance to people and brings them to the right path. وَلَا أَخَافُ مَا تُشْرِكُونَ. I don't fear those whom you ascribe to God as partners. You believe in the Lord of, I don't know, the heavens, the mounts, the forests. I'm not afraid of them. إِلَّا يَشَاء رَبِّي, except if my God, if my Lord wishes. So I have no fear. But in case I had a fear, know that fear also is by Allah's will. Without his leave, there is no fear in my heart from your lords. وَسَعَ رَبِّي كُلَّ شَيْءٍ عِلْمًا. My Lord encompasses all things in knowledge. أَفَلَا تَتَذَكَّرُونَ. وَكَيْفَ أَخَافُ مَا أَشْرَكْتُمْ وَلَا تَخَافُونَ أَنَّكُمْ أَشْرَكْتُمْ بِاللَّهِ. How do I fear these fake lords, those whom you ascribe to God as partners? وَلَا تَخَافُونَ أَنَّكُمْ, while you are not afraid of what you did. What did you do? أَشْرَكْتُمْ بِاللَّهِ, you made partners to God. What? مَا لَمْ يُنَزِّلْ بِهِ عَلَيْكُمْ سُلْطَانًا, something for which God has not sent down to you any proof. Meaning that you are, for example, calling sun as a partner to Allah. You are calling moon someone which shares God in his lordship. Do you have any proof from God that the sun is a lord, that the moon shares Allah in his lordship? Is there any revelation, any news from the heavens saying to you that he is my partner? Or have you reached it through your intellect, which is also something from God? An intellectual argument which directs you to toward this conclusion? فَأَيُّ الْفَرِيقَيْنِ أَحَقُّ بِالْأَمْنِ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. So which of the two groups, we that follow Allah or you who follow other lords, which one deserve al-am, safety? You remember, we explained before that the people who worship lords, one of their purposes, the main purpose, was to rescue themselves from the dangers, from the harms. They were afraid of that. So they were looking for safety. Say, which one deserves safety? The one who follows some Lord for which he has no reason for any proof, or the one who is following the truth, following the true Lord. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.